Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bosch. The number of clean diesel models in North America will double by 2014. Bosch Clean Diesel. Good, clean, fun. Bridgestone. Your journey, our passion. And by Dow Automotive Systems. Improving durability and increasing design flexibility with Betamate structural adhesives at dowbetamate.com.
It's the start of a new week. I'm John McElroy. This is Autoline Daily, and here's the news. While automakers and analysts are raising their sales and production estimates in many parts of the world, the industry is about to get hit by a critical part shortage. The supplier company, TI Automotive, is warning automakers of a resin shortage that's needed to make brake and fuel lines. That's because of a fire at a chemical company in Germany that makes that resin. TI supplies components to many major automakers and warns that production disruptions could hit in the next couple of weeks. And man, if it's not earthquakes, tsunamis, or floods, there always seems to be something that is stopping the assembly lines. The DS was one of the most famous cars produced by Citroen, and that's why the company recently revived the DS model name for a family of cars, the DS3, DS4, and DS5. But it doesn't end there. Now the company is showing off a new concept called the Numero 9, or Number 9. Hey, remember that Beatles song from the White Album? Number 9. Well, anyway, Citroen says this reveals the future styling of the DS line. Kinda looks like a flattened crossover, if you ask me, with a hint of the Mazda CX-9 in the rear quarter. But I love the front-end view of the car. It debuts at the Beijing Auto Show next week. A new study from the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration confirms what I said 3 years ago when Toyota was slammed with sudden unintended acceleration. It's driver error. While safety advocates try to pin the blame on electronic gremlins, or what they call tin whiskers, NHTSA points out that nearly 2/3 of the drivers who mistakenly hit the gas pedal instead of the brakes in crashes are female, and most of them are over 76 years old. You know, I'd love to see the study look into how many of them are diabetic, which can rob people of the feeling in their feet. As the saying goes, a rising tide lifts all boats. But in this case, it's cargo ships. Shipping in the Great Lakes is up 14% compared to a year ago, thanks to the rebound in the automotive industry. And this shows just how deep the industry sends ripples throughout the economy. I'm going to be driving the new Dodge Dart at the media launch this week, and I am dying to get behind the wheel. I think it's going to be a pretty nice C-segment car, and obviously Fiat agrees, because the Italian automaker will build a rebadged version of the Dart in China. Called the Viaggio, it'll be powered by a 1.4-liter turbo engine that's offered in two strengths, 120 or 150 horsepower. A 5-speed manual or a 6-speed DDCT, and that is short for dual drive clutch transmission, are the two gearboxes offered. The Fiat Viaggio will be produced in China with the company's joint venture partner, Guangzhou. It should start arriving at dealers before the end of the year. Have you had a rough day at work? Well, you better be thankful that you are not a police officer in Vietnam. A traffic lieutenant in Hanoi stopped a bus for allegedly driving on the wrong side of the road. The driver initially cooperated, but then changed his mind. He decided to flee the scene, and the constable got the ride of his life. He stood on the bus's bumper and grabbed the windshield wipers to hold on for dear life as the driver took him for a kilometer-long ride. Eventually, he did stop as more law enforcement arrived. But here's the kicker. According to Autoblog, the driver in question was released from prison in 2010 for being involved in a fatal crash. And yet he got a job as a bus driver.
I'm Craig Cole in historic Charleston, South Carolina, test driving a new pillar of Infiniti's lineup. That report coming up next.
Clean diesel models in North America will double by 2014. Why? Higher take rates, lower cost of ownership, longer range and better fuel mileage, lower CO2 emissions. Clean diesel, good, economical, functional. Bosch, invented for life.
For years now, Infiniti has had a big gap, just like this, in its model lineup, and that has given some of its major competitors a big sales advantage. But that's all going to change this year with the introduction of the brand new JX crossover.
This car is really important to Infiniti because what we found through years is we've actually been underserving a particular market. We have the QX, which has done a wonderful job for us. Great sales, really it's been good at attracting young, affluent families. But we were really just missing that slight part of the market that didn't want a full-size utility, didn't need the capabilities of a QX. It didn't need 8,500 pounds of towing capacity. They were looking for something with a little less capacity and a little lower in price. So there was this gap in the market of between $40,000 and $55,000 for three-row luxury crossovers that we were really underserving. We couldn't put those people into FXs because they had 3 children and FX really didn't work for them. QX was too large, perhaps a little bit more money than they wanted to spend. This was a critical vehicle for us. Our dealers were telling us we were losing a lot of customers to competitors because they simply did not have something to sell to them.
The Infiniti JX is powered by a 3.5-liter V6 engine. It's a member of Nissan's vaunted VQ engine family, and in this application it delivers 265 horsepower, plenty of go power for this 3-row crossover. It's matched to a continuously variable transmission, but that is not the only technology Infiniti has added to this vehicle. Inside, it's loaded with all kinds of electronic driver aids that it's really pushing in its marketing message.
The all-new Infiniti JX is targeted towards affluent families who are looking for 7-passenger seating and 3 rows to accommodate their families, and specifically second-row flexibility, so easy ingress and egress into the 3rd row. And also families that are interested in both design and technology, which this vehicle has a wealth of, including first-ever backup collision intervention system. The marketing strategy focuses really on 3 critical technologies, several of which I've just mentioned, but the movement of the 2nd row to enable that ingress and egress is first in segment. The backup collision intervention is a world's first, where it uses both radar and sonar to alert the driver to what he's not able to see. And then our first personal assistant, which is the only luxury vehicle in America, the JX, to offer complimentary access to a live personal assistant for 4 years.
With the JX35, Infiniti has the Acura MDX squarely in its crosshairs, which is the segment leader. The JX offers all of the features you'd expect, plus the driving performance and the fuel economy buyers want. Is it perfect? No, I didn't particularly care for the steering feel, and I'm not a fan of the CVT, but still, it is a great 3-row luxury crossover that if you're in the market, you should definitely check it out. Reporting from South Carolina's beautiful coastline for Autoline Daily, I'm Craig Cole.
Interestingly, the JX media launch was done in the United States, and for the first time ever, Infiniti invited Chinese journalists to the U.S. to learn about the vehicle firsthand. Infiniti really wants to take on the German luxury brands, which dominate the luxury segment in China. Anyway, that wraps up today's report. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.